If you had a button that allowed you to control the world and change the fate of entire nations, would you press it? Would you be conscious of the power you hold and think about the well-being of everyone? Or would you prioritize your personal interests? This question raises deep philosophical issues surrounding power and responsibility, and it's not an easy one to answer. Power is not just about having control over decisions that shape the world. It also comes with a huge responsibility. A person who holds the ability to control the world needs to be aware of the consequences their actions will have on the lives of others. History has shown that many leaders who had absolute power failed to use it responsibly, often causing destruction and suffering. For example, Adolf Hitler held immense power as the ruler of Germany. This power was used to launch devastating global wars and commit atrocities, leading to the loss of millions of lives. While he had the ability to change the course of history, he used it in a catastrophic way, prioritizing his vision of dominance over the well-being of humanity. If you had this power, how would you define justice? Would you respect the rights of individuals and allow them freedom? Or would you force them to conform to your own ideas of what is best? Philosophers like John Locke believe that individual freedom is a fundamental right, and that any form of power should be subject to the rights of individuals. If you were in a position where you could control the world, would you accept the responsibility of shaping the future of others? The answer is not simple, as controlling the world could lead to tyranny and the loss of fairness. Could you maintain your humanity while holding such power? Absolute power tends to create a feeling of dominance, but it can also lead someone to lose empathy and justice. This was the case with Napoleon Bonaparte, who once ruled over a vast empire and decided to wage wars across many countries. He believed he could reshape history, but the result was a series of destructive conflicts that caused untold suffering. In another example, during the Middle Ages, many monarchs had absolute power and controlled the lives of their people in ways that were unfair and cruel. One such ruler was a Roman emperor who used his power for personal gain rather than for the good of his people. The psychological effects of absolute power are also significant. Holding such control over the lives of others can create an internal conflict. At first, you might feel capable of making positive changes, but eventually, this kind of power could make you lose touch with reality. For example, Joseph Stalin, who had absolute control over the Soviet Union, initially aimed to create economic and social progress. However, over time, unchecked power led him to commit mass atrocities against his people and political opponents. This shows that power corrupts, and it is dangerous when left in the hands of one person. The question remains, if you had a button to control the world, would you press it? The answer is far from straightforward. Power requires extreme caution and a deep understanding of the consequences that come with it. Philosophy teaches us that power can be dangerous if it is not wielded in a fair and compassionate way. Perhaps it is better to live in a world where we face challenges and have freedom, rather than one where a single person holds all the control. Ultimately, the question is whether we are truly capable of knowing what is best for everyone. Is it better to live in a world that is imperfect, where we can learn from our mistakes and grow, rather than in a world where one person holds the power to shape everything according to their will? Deep thoughts are worth exploring. Subscribe to Enigma Thought and be part of the journey.